Everybody, and welcome to Adobe Max. It's the first. Hold on, Gus. What, Gus? Oh, it's not till next week. Oh, okay. Sorry, sorry about that. Hey, everyone, this is not Adobe Max. Hopefully, you're not disappointed, and hopefully, you are here for Adobe Office Hours. Just as good, just a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
We're just like a little bit
Well,
scaled back from
we're
that.
the opening act. We're the
It's true.
opening act to like there's nothing after us before Adobe Max. So
Yes,
right.
like you haven't heard of us before, but it will eventually be on SNL. That's the vibe that we're going for here. Hello, my name is Andrew Hochradel. Over here is
Nick Longo. How's
That's
everybody
right.
doing?
How is it going, everybody? We have all our mods in chat. Gus, Cody, Lisa, everybody is
Wow.
here.
It's like all
And
the principals are here watching us today.
it's so true. Hey, I am all for some teacher observations. And yes, hopefully you are joining us here right now at 2 p.m. Pacific time. We're usually on a little bit later. So if you're watching, Nick, what's going to happen at 2:30 p.m. our normal time?
We're gonna reintroduce everybody, say hello, because we figured we're probably gonna get a ton of people tuning in at 2:30.
That's very true. So if you are here
Yeah.
now, you get extra credit. We're going to give you 300 points of extra credit. Hopefully you guys are keeping track
Don't
during the
tell
semester.
anybody.
Don't tell anybody. It's a secret.
Yeah.
But then at 2:30, just know that we will be introducing the show again. We'll be stopping whatever we're doing and pretending like we're going live. So I'm going to do the exact same joke. Just know that that's coming. 2:30. So hold on in your hearts. And today, Nick, what are we talking about?
We're going to be talking everything about getting you ready for either internship, getting hired. This is going to be a good one, man. I think I could talk for hours on this because it just seems to be what every young designer and anybody right out of school is asking about. You know,
Yes.
it's all that good stuff.
And
Yeah.
we think that today might possibly be the day that we have the most content to give you that we've ever
I know.
had. So we are going to absolutely overload you with content.
Yes.
And then at the end, we will be posting this in our server, and you can find that over here under me, bit.ly/Adobe Office Hours. You can find it there. The full presentation will be there for you to walk back through, follow the steps, do the homework, follow the suggestions that we're going to give you. Nick today is going to be covering half. Nick, what are you talking about today?
All about getting your LinkedIn ready for any kind of job application. It's literally a LinkedIn tune-up is what I like to call it. So we'll be ready to go.
And I will be covering internships. I'll be talking to you a little bit about what to look for, what to expect, and maybe how to behave during your internships. I've had quite the many amount of intern come through my doors, and so I'm excited to share my thoughts and the experience that I've had with interns as well as being an intern. So let's do a couple things before we start. Nick, what's coming up next week? Let's just start there. We have some announcements to make.
Gosh, does anything happen next week with
Anything big?
Adobe? I can't put my finger on it. I'm maxing out every brain cell.
It's coming up. I'm going to go ahead and call the wrong answer on that, though, because the more important thing that's coming up is the Adobe Career Bootcamp.
Yes.
That's right. Yes, we all know that Max is coming, but there's something very
More
special
importantly.
coming on Monday, October 19th. It is the Adobe Career Bootcamp. Nick and I will be there, and we will be presenting on some of our top trips to landing your dream job, taking a look at portfolios, all that fun stuff. And there is an amazing lineup of speakers and mentors that will be there as well, including our friend Kyle Webster. So make sure that you register for that at the link that our mod is going to be dropping in the chat. And Nick, of course, what's the other thing that's going up next week?
Oh, then it's Adobe Max.
Then it's Adobe Max.
We are a part of not only the pre-show, but the actual show itself. Very fun stuff ahead, man.
Yes, very true.
I can't believe it's next week.
I know, I'm freaking out. So max.adobe.com is where you can find that, and make sure that you go and register for that and click on the Max chats and look for, just search for the word portfolio, and we are what comes up. So we have 2 sessions on Wednesday and Thursday. Make sure that you read Tuesday and Wednesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Look, there's just so much happening. It's hard
There's
to
so
keep
much
track.
happening. So
Oh,
much
all I
going
could
on.
say is whatever you have signed up to, make sure it's attached to your calendar because,
Yes.
man, that helps you out a lot with the sessions for next week.
Yes.
The best part is you just don't have to walk, the length of a convention center to your next session. You just log on.
I'm definitely gonna walk like around the block between each session just to like get the sweatiness of a conference going.
Love it.
Good
Love
old
it.
conference sweat. All right,
There you
that's
go.
5 minutes of announcements, which is the maximum amount that I allow myself because we'll run out of time on the show.
Exactly.
Let's go ahead and hop in. And Nick, we're just gonna like literally go into it. And here's the structure for today. Nick is going to take it away. You guys saw a couple weeks ago when I just gave my lecture on semiotics. Today's Nick's day. I'm gonna add my color commentary, and at the end, hop in to talk a little bit about internships. But Nick,
Yeah.
let's jump right into what we should be doing on LinkedIn.
Let's do it. Are you guys ready? First
Are
of all,
you ready?
everybody better be on there. I know Elizabeth is on there. She
Are you
reached
ready,
out and connected.
kids?
Exactly. So
Oh,
for
gosh.
sure, be sure you are on LinkedIn. Be sure you are a part of that community, and you've reached out to both Andrew and I. We will definitely love to see you there. Let's get into it. Let's get to the first page
Let's do it.
after the cover page.
Boom. Vanity URL.
Yeah. So like just with any other form of social media, LinkedIn allows you to customize your URL. If you haven't done this, you have some crazy like code after the backslash. You want to make sure you choose it to your name or something that is yours. You can either do a quick screen cap of this. It's very easy to do, or go back and watch this at the redo, or get this off of our, we'll have this for them online afterwards as well, right?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
It will be
Cody
in.
has never made a LinkedIn. Cody.
Cody. I at
My
one
gosh.
point made a, you know how like parents have bumper stickers that's like, my kid is an honor
Yeah,
student.
yeah.
I made stickers that were for students to put for their parents that said, my parent is a LinkedIn
Oh
all-star.
my God, that is the best. I love it. I love
Yes.
it.
Adobe Live
Perfect.
is in the chat. What's up? Adobe Live has entered the building.
Wow. That's
Yes.
a whole other level.
I know. This is the equivalent of having like the dean. Like we had all the
Yes.
principals, we have the superintendent, and now the dean is here.
Yes.
So yes,
I love
I
it.
feel like we have summoned something very special for this show.
I know exactly. All right. So getting back to this, make sure you do this. It makes you more easily found. It also gives you something to put on your resume or any other online source where you want to direct people back to LinkedIn. Very easy, very cool way to do this. Then you have your own little vanity URL. Next one. Your presence as far as having a photo is totally important. You know, Andrew's probably got a whole photo album of stuff ready to go,
I do.
changing it all the time. Profiles, first of all, get 30% more views, hands down. That number's probably even up since the last time we checked. But the last thing you want to do is have no photo or in an inappropriate photo for your profile. You as creatives, I think too, don't you find we get a little bit of like extra kind of, we can play a little bit with that photo and make it a little bit fun.
Yes.
I'm showing like a very good professional one, but then my good friend Mikkel, she has like this fantastic one that I just love. It shows her personality well. She's a business owner. She's a freelancer. She can do this. I think there's a certain amount, like show other people, let people take a look at it, but make sure it's respected to your brand and your everything about you.
Exactly. I'd say try to make it so that it looks like the people you want to work with, if that makes sense. So
Exactly.
if you
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
work with suits, then sure, like have a picture in a suit. But if you want to work with people that are like, oh man, this is like kind of fun and, you know, like professional, but like a little bit, you know,
Yep.
then put something up there that's that. So try to make it to, one, present yourself as yourself, and two, present the people that you want to work with.
100%. And have someone take the picture if you need to. It doesn't have to be so professional. Our phones can now do these things, you know, give it a good touch up. You're good to go.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
So
what a shot.
Don't forget the background art. You have this billboard behind you to put something in there. And that's something a lot of LinkedIn people are saying change on maybe a seasonal basis or something. Or if you want to show off your latest work or something that you've done, this billboard behind you, your header, is fantastic to put something behind there. Don't leave it blank as well too. Even if you just chose a pattern or something cool from your branding, that is a great thing to do as well. Okay.
Yep. It's almost like your artist statement that you say, hey, here's me, here's a little bit of personality. And then that thing up there is basically saying like, here's me and the work and the vibe and the overall like of what we're going to do together.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. There's your pixels. You're at 1584 by 396. It'll fit perfectly. It shows up on both the app and on desktop, which looks great.
Yes,
Okay.
you know it's a good boot camp when you start getting pixel ratios.
Yes, exactly. Next up, your name and title. Okay, so here's where most people get this wrong. The thing here, one, you have 120 characters. Doesn't sound like a lot. It is. You can put something more than just your title. Your top 3 job titles or keywords should go in there. Keywords are the things you want to be found for. If you're a packaging guru, if you're a hand letterer, if you're a UI UX person, have that in there as a keyword. Okay. Next slide will tell you this is where you put that sentence should be more than just your job title. Tell us what you're going to do by doing what. And that's a perfect like thing. I help /people/companies do blank by doing this. Okay.
That's
Don't
so
put
good.
it as senior designer at blah, blah, blah. Right.
Yep.
So look at our buddy Keith here, social media strategist, helping businesses experience growth and profits through effective use of social media.
Yep.
Make
And we've
it a
seen this.
complete sentence.
Yep, we've talked about this a bunch of times that using a template that everyone else uses is not a bad thing a lot of the time. Like
Yeah.
if somebody's figured out these are the like blanks that you need to fill in, just
Yes.
do it. If that's the way
Yeah.
that it works, then it works really well.
You're right.
Somebody had an interesting question.
Sure.
Is what do you do with LinkedIn if you work under a pseudonym? So like I work under Hoch.co, but I also
Yes.
am Andrew Hochradel. What do I do with that?
I go with the name and then you make a business page. So
Cool.
do it under your name. Then you can make a company page that you run, and that could be a whole other entity. It is the one area where I think you have to start it with the personal name for sure.
Yep.
Then make your company page. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Next up,
All
your
right.
summary. So in that summary, what you have there, make sure you are using those keywords. I'm giving you a bunch here off to the side. Anything you do that's specific. So if that dream job involves editorial design or marketing or social media or something, have it in there. The more you sprinkle it throughout, the better. Okay. And I think the next slide shows a great example of when you're writing that summary, make sure you are adding those keywords into these paragraphs very naturally, right? It's not like you have to do something totally different here. Just make sure they're in there. The algorithms and everything about LinkedIn will help you rise to the top the more you use the keywords that are appropriate to you.
Interesting. And Justin says, what if you work for someone?
Yeah.
I think definitely list that, but that doesn't
Oh,
change
yeah.
what you do. So you can present yourself as,
Yes.
hey, I do XYZ, I solve these problems. Even though you're working for someone else might see you and be like, oh, we need someone who solves these problems.
Correct.
Oh, they're already working for someone else. Let's make them work for us. So don't make...
Justin, in your work experience, you just have that as the latest and greatest place you work at with your title.
Yep. Yeah. LinkedIn is a place for you, and then kind of the work stuff. Because I think a lot of people see it as like, oh, I just put like where I work and the things related to the people I work for on there. But it's really about you. And then there is this kind of subhead of where you work.
Exactly. Perfect. Next one up. So you have skills and endorsements. And maybe you are getting asked of endorsements all the time. Like someone will say like, hey, can you endorse your friend Bob, Steve, whoever on packaging design, right? So don't forget, you can do this as well. And you should strive for at least 50. That is kind of the kind of the target here. You can do this for other people and they can endorse you as well. So when you go into there, add some of the things that are there. And now what will happen is friends and followers of you will be asked at certain points, does Andrew know brand design? Does Andrew know art direction? And the more you have, again, the better you can be found. So all of these things do add up to you being more discoverable when people are searching for something that can match who you are. Okay.
Yep. And it's very much that helps you also know what the strengths are that you can play to, right? That you've heard me a million times on this show be like, oh, Nick's the packaging guy. And then we look and we're like, oh, no, he is the packaging guy. Like packaging is the thing. So it helps you have a gauge of that, but also maybe how to reference yourself, how to market yourself based on other people's perception of what it is.
Yeah.
Also, complete side note, I'm just realizing now that the browser has dropped all the fonts in this presentation.
Yes,
so if it looks wonky,
guys.
Let's blame the browser and not me.
We'll have a much better one for your download.
Yes, it'll look great in the downloads, I promise.
Yeah. So next up, again, skills and endorsements as well. Get endorsements, okay? 2+ are recommended to at least have something in there. And this could be, you can go back to a professor, you can go back to a person that even was at a part-time job. Maybe you're anyone that was a supervisor or kind of you were on their team.
Yep.
These are great to get. You can ask for recommendations. So look there on the top, you'll see that little ask for recommendations on the top right. You click on that and you can ask someone specifically you've worked for that's in your network to do that. The chances of it happening are very good, particularly if you write them as well. So I like to do them for other people as well. And then I always feel like it's a give and take. You got to make sure you're doing the same for others as well. Okay.
Yep. And it looks like Laura has a great question. How many skills do you think is appropriate to list?
20, 25, 50 is that goal that LinkedIn says will help boost you in a way. I know that sounds like a lot, but it will break it down. And as you build them, it will start telling you, oh, you might be skillful at this. And it will it will give you prompts to add to your list. So of course you can't be the jack of all trades and have everything under your belt, right? But definitely have the ones that are the most important to you, I would say.
Yeah. And I think that LinkedIn makes it super easy to, one, endorse other people, to two, ask for endorsements, and three, do the recommendations. Like, it's literally suggesting things to you all the time. And I think a lot of times on Facebook where it's like, oh, you should like these pages, and you're like, no, and you just ignore it. LinkedIn is like way better at that you can literally sit there and like click through and be like, oh, yes, I endorse these people. It'll notify them. They will endorse you. And it just becomes this kind of easy cycle to push things through.
Yeah. And they make that perfectly doable. So it keeps the growth going with everybody on there,
Yep. And what about given recommendations? Should they be the same amount as received?
Well, it depends on where you probably are in your career. If you have enough experience that you could be giving them, great, right? If you're still young and it's okay. You should just have the ones that you really feel are the people that can just sell you. I think it's best to ask for the quality over quantity with this one too.
Yep.
You want to make sure they're really, really great.
Yeah. And we have a question that's come up a couple times that I want to address. And that is, they're wondering if it's okay to have an illustrated profile picture on LinkedIn.
I think even just asking it means like you're not sure. So I think in some ways, if it has a slight touch of illustration over the photography, what do you think? Because I think it's the one area to maybe leave that stuff for Instagram and other platforms.
Yes. So I have an illustrated profile picture on every single other platform except for LinkedIn. I just pulled mine up, and LinkedIn is the only one that I have a headshot. Everything else is the illustrated picture of me that I think is my Behance profile as well. It's like 3 eyes, and I like have a pretzel stick in my mouth. That's my profile everywhere. But then LinkedIn, I am more professional with like, here's my headshot, here's a little bit more.
And it's like what we showed earlier. You can have a little fun with it. I think in your attitude and the kind of the if you want that picture to sing, there's something you can do about it. But I think sometimes when you see the illustration thing, to be honest with you, sometimes it screams student to, I think, anybody in HR or whatever. So don't forget, your audience is so different here. These are decision makers. These aren't friends and colleagues too. You're going after the decision makers that will hire you. Okay.
Yes.
So for sure, do that.
Yep.
Okay.
And again, chat, this is our favorite thing, is when you start asking questions.
Oh, please.
We have a lot of content today, but we also have a ton of time. So we will push content for your questions any day. So keep asking questions if you have them. We'd love to talk about those. So keep them coming in, and we will continue to do that. And a lot of people are just coming in late.
Yeah, I see you, Steven.
Yeah,
a little late.
Hey, Ariana. Welcome to the show. All right, cool.
My bad, because I think I texted a few people saying 2:30.
Yes, exactly. So continuing on to the other section.
Now, this is the area where you can customize it. There's a few things that LinkedIn does not go specifically into as far as saying, "Ooh, I'd love to brag about this. I got this. I got that. Where do I put it in?" Projects, courses, honors and awards, and publications are your place to do it. So you can go in here and customize the content in there. It's where you put a lot of that filler, but don't forget anything you've done that's a volunteer thing, anything that you've done that's cause related, an award or a publication, anything, right? A mention on Adobe office hours, maybe? No, I'm just kidding.
Featured at Adobe Max.
Yes. Oh gosh, I think we're both going to update the LinkedIn's later on.
That's it, right?
So don't forget, this is a great little area, because every time I'm like, ooh, how do I add the fact that like the the podcast or something else, right? And you don't want to put it in work experience. When I searched around, it told you that this is that area, these little special areas under accomplishments. So don't forget those, okay?
Yeah, so this would be something that, like, a great example, if you've done a podcast, or even for me, like Canceled Con, right? It's not a job, it's like an online conference that I did, but it was a huge thing that to employers, like, oh my gosh, he like made his own conference and like built it from the ground, that I can't put that as like, I was employed by this thing. And like, it could just be a post, but I also could put it in my accomplishments, that it's like, here's this huge project that I launched, it was self-initiated, became this thing or whatever. That's where you put all that extra stuff.
Yeah, perfect. I know Justin said something about thoughts on Adobe certifications. I think that's a great spot to put in too. There are things about classes or programs that you have been given a certificate or something like that. That would be great as well, for sure. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. You can ask us for endorsements, and we'll just say they're great. They're great in chat.
There you go.
We'll give you that.
Always talkative.
Yes.
All right. The next one on other is basically the use of interactive media and things like that. Just recently, this was maybe a year or two ago, they started allowing you to really fill up your profile with things that you can put in that are media driven. So your latest work, presentations, videos, website links, blogs, resumes, all of that can be clickable now. So if you have a YouTube video, you can have that in there. If you have a PDF that you put together, you can make a beautiful slideshow on there, and it all shows up in, let's say you did that at one of your jobs or one of your entries in work history, you can pop it in there, and that way they know, oh, he or she did this during that job. All right. So for sure, this is a great little area to add. And I think it just makes your profile look a little more robust because you're seeing visuals throughout a lot of that text. Okay.
Yep. And how far back should we go with achievements and awards if we're at the university level or a fresh graduate?
Ooh, I would say, maybe senior year of high school. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I kind of update mine as I go. That it's like, oh, this doesn't feel relevant anymore. So I'd say just push as far back as you feel is relevant.
Yeah.
Right. If you go back too far and you're like, oh, this isn't like, oh, I got a gold star on my drawing that I did. Like, you want to keep it relevant, but also like engaged to where you are in your career.
Yeah. And don't forget too, I think design is starting in the high school world now. I mean, like it's starting in those zones, even in junior high. So if you did win something and it was a high school thing and it was related to the industry, I say it's great to throw in there, as long as you've won a few after that too, right? Keeping the thing alive, maybe.
Yes.
All right. The next one is the human factor. Okay. Recruiters will spend about 6 to 10 seconds. So make it count, right? You want the relevant experience, relevant information, and you want to make sure that it's easy to read. So I always say, like, show it to somebody else, ask someone else to look at your profile when you're all said and done. I think those little blocks of multimedia can help with the flow. So we all know when we're approached or we open a page or turn a page and there's 18 paragraphs of copy, we make a decision to either read it or not. So make sure it looks good, having the great picture, having those other things, it's adding that human element that I feel like it's going to help keep them there for a little bit longer.
Yep. And Elizabeth says she's referring to excellence awards and AP classes. It depends on what they're for. I think AP classes, if you're doing copywriting and you have taken AP English or literature, then that's probably relevant. But if it's like, oh, I took AP government and I'm trying to be a designer, I don't think that that's really relevant. And so I wouldn't list it there. So anything that's relevant to what you would want to get in a career.
I love that idea. Yep. I just saw too, where was that other question? How often should we add things to LinkedIn? I will follow up on that. I have a slide that it will give you and it's part of your homework. So better write it down, baby.
Love that. And I'll very often post, if I have like an article or something, I'll post and build it on Behance and build out a case study of whatever it is, and then push that over to LinkedIn so that it becomes like this network pushing to the place that I want them to see all of my work.
Correct.
And so I'm sure we're going to get there, but it can act as a really, really great funnel.
Great. Perfect. Next slide. Part of this human factor, when you reach out to a new connection, even if you see one that says suggested you should join and you just click it, never ever just rely on that default that says, hi, I'd like to join your network, right? You got to give some personal kind of like invitation, introduction, but more importantly, tell that person why you're making that connection. And it should be either like around the idea that you are a recent grad or you are someone that's looking for a job and you just want to expand your network. It would be great to connect. Try to make sure it's approachable and it's not like you're asking too much. It's just, can we connect? I'm in the same industry, would love to maybe pick your brain one day, whatever it is. Those are the things you want to say. Okay. So don't just rely on that one. Also, don't promise anything. Don't put out there like, I'm going to increase your sales and blah, 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 blah. That's a first thing that they will just ignore.
Yeah.
Okay?
Don't write checks that you can't cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, even if it's just a colleague, even if it's another designer, it's always good to do that because I think people are getting very used to seeing the default and just hitting the X because they're just thinking, what's in it for me? It's like, there's got to be something here. Okay.
Yep. So then what can we do to make this happen? What's the thing we can do to make this happen, Nick? What are we charging our friends with?
What are we charging our friends with?
What are we making them do for the next slides for their homework?
For the next slides. Okay.
It was funny because I kept saying things thinking, this isn't a good transition, Andrew. How do you get better there? And I couldn't quite get there. Like
asking me a question.
Words just kept coming out and they didn't go anywhere.
So was that your segue into the homework?
Yes, that was my segue into the homework.
Perfect. First slide. Okay, guys. Now, and I'm asking Andrew to do this as well because he admitted he's not the best at keeping up with his LinkedIn.
Nope.
So not only is this homework, guys, but I would love to hear from you guys. I've put a few people through this test. They saw an insane amount of activity and improvement on their LinkedIn page over time because of these things. Okay. So I'm hoping everyone at least tries this so then we can come back in a few weeks and see how everybody did. The goal, I don't care where you are, if you have 10, 15, 20, 100 people, is to build it to 500 plus. That is a threshold that LinkedIn looks at and says, wow, when you've made it past there, it's like the world of Oz, okay? You've made it through the pearly gates. You are enjoying all of the benefits of everything that LinkedIn's going to have.
Yes,
okay?
And if you're having trouble with that, we actually only need you to get 498 if... we'll start you off. We'll start you off with a couple, just right here, Nick and I, and that'll be an easy transition getting into building up to that 500.
Yeah. How you get it is by not doing that default message too, is by just having a really good, well-crafted intro. Try it out, okay?
Yep.
This is very doable. This is not like getting a follower on all the other apps. This is about just making a connection. That's what I call it LinkedIn. The other way you can do it is by joining up to 100 groups, okay? And it sounds like a lot too. Now, don't forget, when you join one, you can mute it so it's not showing up in your feed over and over and over again, okay? But you are in a group. Let's say you want to get into packaging design, UI, UX. There are hundreds of these groups, and you just find them in the group section and ask to join. And what that's going to do is just put you in different communities and expose you to different people, okay?
Yep.
So next page shows you. I just did a quick search for like graphic design ones. You can see packaging world, packaging design group. There's things for cosmetics and products that are in that field. Natural food merchandisers, like weirdest stuff. But as I know, if I'm in there, go to someone who is a potential client too. Don't just go to people that talk and are doing the same thing you are. Go to the clubs or the groups that are where you want to work, right?
Yes.
If you're trying to get into something in the apparel business or whatever, search for those groups and try to find them. You'll be the only designer in there. That's like the secret sauce.
It's true.
Right?
That's the secret sauce that I learned about real estate. Real estate doesn't have designers, and if you're a designer that finds friends that do real estate, boy, can you make some money.
That's exactly
find those niches and just infiltrate. And it's fine if you're the only designer because then you're the only designer. That's a good thing.
I know, that's very true. Also, too, it's one of there's 4 or 5 factors that give you what's known as a internal score, and you have an internal score with LinkedIn. And the more you do activity, engagement, and groups, the higher your scores. And what does that mean? It means you will be higher in search results. Okay, little known facts. So make sure you're doing that as well. That's groups. Another thing to do, follow the companies. Now, companies have pages and you can just follow them. So you don't even have to ask for permission. I go after the dream clients, I find them and I follow them. And that way they start showing up in my feed. So when they have news or they've produced something new, I can chime in real quick and say, great job, blah, blah, blah. They see I'm a packaging person. You never know what can happen. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect idea.
And I think, actually, I'm going to pin that thought until you're done. I'm pinning a thought. I'll remember it. All right, keep going.
Good. All right. So it encourages companies as well to go after those followers if they have an opening, if they're looking for potential candidates. So don't forget that. Let's see. Next up, things to do on the daily. Interact with your homepage feed. So don't forget, you have your profile, which is the everything about you, and then you have your feed. And your feed is where you exchange, where you see all the other things. So interact on some kind of a daily basis. If that means even just making a note. It's 2:30. I made a note. We should be reintroducing everybody. Hello, welcome to office hours.
Yes. Hold on, wait. Here, let's do this. All right, 3, 2. Right. Hey everybody, welcome back to Adobe Max. Oh, what's that? It's next week. Oh, hey, this is Adobe Office Hours. If you're just joining us at 2:30, you're a little bit late. We started early at 2 o'clock. So if you're just joining us, I do see a couple of you popping in. We are talking about LinkedIn internships and stepping up your career today. So Nick is just about to finish up the part about working on your LinkedIn, improving your network. And I'm going to take over and talk about internships. So you did make it just in time. You can go back and watch this. And as always, the link right below me, I hit the wrong button. The link right below me is where you can find the catch up and the entire presentation. Immediately following this class, I will upload it there. So let's hop back in, Nick, with some of the interactions that you need to do each week.
Be sure to rewatch this because the homework, we're right in the middle of it, and the homework is going to be all to your advantage. Trust me. The next thing here, daily interaction. So making sure you're on there, liking, commenting, doing those little things that like just keep your name out in the open. I know when I see someone that is in chat and I see the name, it's so great to see them on LinkedIn. It means you're taking the time, you're going out there and you're interacting with other folks there. That's just your way of being top of mind. I've had many of clients come through on the LinkedIn side just because I was active and my name was always kind of popping up, and they're like, oh, you always post the packaging stuff. They didn't have a need for me, but when they did, guess who was first on their list? Yep. Right? It just happens. It just happens.
You're the packaging guy.
Yeah. On the weekly, you want to post something once a week. That's all that we're asking. Post your work there. Now, here's the other secret. Most designers are starting to figure this out, but it's uncharted territory on LinkedIn as opposed to Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Yep.
You post something on there, you're getting people that might actually hire you or pay you for it, not another designer, right?
Yep. And so this is where my point came in that I wrote on a sticky note and stuck right next to my camera. Yeah. This is the pinned thought that we're bringing back, is that LinkedIn is not the end of any of the things. So LinkedIn is a funnel to drive to something, right?
Correct.
And so if we are showing off work, do a Behance case study, build out your Adobe portfolio, and then use the platform of LinkedIn to funnel people to more content, right?
You
can keep pushing that content through your LinkedIn, but then have a spot where they can discover and they can connect and they can get as much as they want from you. That LinkedIn's really for the person of you, right? And seeing that kind of side and what you do and what you can bring them. And then push them somewhere that shows them the breadth of your work, the amazing case studies that we've been working on for this whole semester, and setting up your awesome Adobe portfolio on there. So it will help and work in tandem very, very well to use it as that funnel to push towards somewhere.
Perfect. Love that idea. Love that idea. So remember, weekly, you're posting something, but you're also trying to make sure you're adding some new contacts, okay? But posting, have fun with it. Look back at anything that was successful on Instagram or any project you've posted, and you've got the assets for it. Put it on LinkedIn and see what happens. You'll find with same idea, you add hashtags, you can tag businesses or companies to it. It lure them over that way. There's so many different ways to try this out. So that's kind of daily and weekly.
Yep. Yeah. And do this as an experiment. This is my homework to you that you can do if you or not. Build a case study on Behance. Post it on LinkedIn, post it on Twitter, post it on Facebook, post that case study with some good engaging copy to try to push people there, and look at the interactions and comments and likes or whatever that you get, one on Behance, on Twitter, on Facebook, and then on LinkedIn, I guarantee every single one of them will be completely different on each platform.
Totally. And that
The
should
stuff
tell
that I
you.
post on Behance will get comments that are like, this looks so cool. Wow, look at that. Well, this is good as whatever. And then when I get it on LinkedIn, it's like, wow, this could actually be really cool for my business. Or like, what an interesting take on like value propositioning. And so I post it on those different places and see how that case study will just can change and adapt to wherever it goes.
Totally. Yeah, I love it. Cool. So
All right, monthly.
Update your profile, right? Do something. Did a new responsibility happen at work? Did you do something new in specialties or interest? Try to do that on the monthly. Contribute to a few of those groups that you've followed and then muted. Don't forget them. Go back to them, and reach out to an old contact. Try to make it like a monthly goal to find 2 people that maybe you've lost contact with or were at another job, and find them. And that way you're making that connection even more important down the road.
Absolutely.
And so those are those things. I want you guys to all try these things, see what happens in the next few weeks to months. You'll be amazed. Someone went from 10 followers to like 680 in like a month.
Nice.
So it's great. Give it a shot for sure.
Yep, so that's your homework for LinkedIn. Again, this whole presentation will be uploaded at the end of this. I will definitely...
So color coordinated today.
Yes, that's true. We also did the hand thing at exactly the same time. I just noticed. We're in sync. We're in sync, y'all. We're ready for you. All right, so let's go ahead. And yes, the formatting also got messed up in my side of the things too. So we're gonna hop in and talk a little bit about resumes and internships. By that I mean resumes and internships. That's right. Yes, Elizabeth Mock, connection request is pending. Love it. All right, let's talk a little bit about internships. We kind of talked about resumes in that zone of LinkedIn, presenting yourself, how to communicate your who you are and what you do. So let's hop into internships. Chat, put a hands up, raise your hand if you have done an internship. If you've done an internship, do one hand. If you are looking to do an internship, do 2 hands. So drop those in chat. I just want to get a gauge of where we are with internships. And I'm going to kind of just give you the information that I have and the experience that I have. So I worked in-house for 8 years. I'd interned for a year before getting hired there. And then over the time, I had probably 20 interns under me over different times. And so I want to tell you a little bit about things that I observed, things that I learned, and the perspective that I gained. So if you're trying to get into an internship, here's some things to keep in mind. And as always, drop your questions in chat. Nick will be monitoring that as I talk my face off. And we will definitely give you feedback on those. Nice. Lots of people. Nice. I like that there's a left hand and a right hand. I've never noticed that like there's the thumb of the way. Nice. Yay. Internships. All right, cool. So internships must be mutually beneficial. What that means is if you're looking for an internship, you are not looking just to get something, right? You're not looking just to get something from them, and they shouldn't just be looking to get something from you. They should be mutually beneficial to where the business is going to benefit and you are also going to benefit, right?
Yeah.
And so as you're looking for the right internship for you, you want to be asking yourself some questions. And these, again, will all be in the presentation, but literally as you're going to look at internships, write these down on a piece of paper, on a notepad, take them with you to the interview, and like walk through these questions with the people, because they should have good answers for a lot of the questions I'm about to ask throughout this presentation. If they don't, that's probably a red flag. So you need to identify what efforts and skills am I bringing them? What's my value to this company? What am I getting in return for that effort, right? So if you're putting in effort, you're investing, you're putting yourself into this, what are you getting in return, right? What are they going to give you? And then are the efforts and the return comparable? What that means is you're putting it on scales and you're weighing. This is the amount of effort that I'm going to put into this, and this internship's offering me a little bit of reward, right? It shouldn't be offset at all. If anything, the reward should end up being more than the effort, because they should be investing and pouring into you. Yes, you want your effort to be super high, and the ideal, of course, is that it's equal. But if anything, you can get it to tip the other way, that's really where you want it to go as well. And then last, are there clear steps on what to do with that return? And what I mean by that is, if you're investing your time, right? Hopefully your investment of time and effort and skill there is a return from the company. What do I do with that return, right? It's great to get skills and knowledge, but I need to have steps on what to do with that. Do I look for another job? Am I going to stay here? Am I going to try to teach someone else? What do I do after we
Yes.
have done that exchange?
One of the questions, are there internships opportunities available to people outside of college students?
You know, that's a good question. I
There
would,
totally is.
yeah, there totally is.
I don't care if you've got 20 years experience and you're trying to find a new thing, you go get an internship with it.
Yep.
I think it's anyone who is ready to make the next step,
Yes.
Love that idea.
Yep. And
Yeah.
this goes right into there is you need to know what you want. And yes, even if you aren't a college student and you're looking for something, this is the mindset that you need to go into looking for an internship. You need to know what you want and not just like, oh, I want to intern with like marine biology. I'm like, that would be cool. I want to go in and say, cool, I want to know about the migration patterns of hammerhead sharks in the East Pacific, which is East Pacific, the South Pacific. Let's say the South Pacific because that makes more sense, right? That you have something very specific that you want to learn and that you want to know, and that makes it so that internships aren't like this shotgun approach. They're laser focused, right? So if you're looking for like, oh, I'm looking for a graphic design internship, right, Nick? If I float you an internship and I'm like, hey, so Nick, will you come be my intern? We're gonna teach you like design principles and like you're gonna learn how to like interact with teams and stuff, and I think it's gonna be great. What more would you want out of that?
Ooh, I mean, I have a few questions. That sounds like it's more fitting their need and not maybe mine. I don't,
Yep. And so
you have to have some requirements too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to have some requirements too. And as well as doing this kind of laser focus, I think for Nick, right, that it would be something that, if I'm saying, oh, we really focus on doing like digital design, right? Nick's probably going to come back and be like, oh, I actually really want to learn more about doing packaging stuff. And so don't get too far into the conversation before you realize that like you're focusing on something that they don't have to give you. And so you want to be super laser focused and not come in to say, hey, I'm looking for an internship. Like add things to that. I'm looking for an internship in packaging design because I'm looking to go into the industry and partner with a company so that I can understand how to better prep my files for print. You want very specific things. And then here's something that you're not going to like to hear, chat. Let's come close. You are responsible for what you learn. The employer or the internship is not responsible for like what you learn. That's on you. They are responsible to teach you things, but you cannot learn things that are taught, right?
Oh,
You can have all this teaching thrown at you every Friday at 2:30, and you can choose.
Sometimes too.
Sometimes too. You can choose what you learn, what you take to heart, and what you are actually engaging with. So you're responsible for what you learn. They're responsible for actually teaching you.
Yeah. Laura had a great comment. She says, I have a wish list of only one company I want to join. And then she has 2 backup companies, but it's pretty hard to get into those. And I haven't tried yet. What would you advise to get in?
Don't focus on the company, focus on what you're going to learn. So find the things that you like about those companies and the things that you think will be valuable to learn from those companies and go somewhere else. If it's hard to get into those companies, find somewhere it's easier to get into that is going to teach you or give you the skills that then you can have basis to grow to that other company, right? That it may be, oh, I want to like intern at this company because of X, Y, or Z. You can get X, Y, or Z somewhere else and then refine your own process to then eventually hopefully get hired at that company or to better leverage an internship at that company if it's so hard to get into.
Yeah, Justin has a good comment too. It's so beneficial to have an actual designer managing you if possible. Like again, if that's what you need. If that's what you need. I remember even having people on my team that wanted an internship and wanted an intern. And I was like, I don't think you're the right person just yet. You gotta, and that's a good point. The person on the other side of that has to be just as good in helping as you would be as a sponge,
And here's something that is part of your homework, that if you're going for an internship, looking for an internship, here's what you need to have. You need to have this in your sketchbook. You need to have it on the cover of your computer, like literally make a sticker and just like put it on the back of your laptop. You need to make a list of everything that you want to have by the end of your time interning. Here is
Yes.
like legit a list, a checkoff list of these are the things I want to learn. And that
Yeah.
helps inform the person that's giving you the internship, as well as being able to manage and weigh if the internship was beneficial to your career. You want to check those off and say, cool, this is what I think I needed to be successful. I now think that I am engaged to be
Hmm.
successful, and I have extra knowledge on top of that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on paid versus unpaid?
Oh,
Because I
we're
think
getting
that's
there.
changing.
We'll
Oh,
get there.
we're gonna get there.
Yes.
Okay, good. This is
Yes.
just had that
This is I
conversation
love I
earlier.
love that
Yeah.
we transitioned from that question to this slide.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Here's the deal. You need to be selfish. And this isn't
Yeah.
referring yet to the pay, but kind of. You need to be selfish because it's really about you, right? Internships are about you, employment is about the business. So
Hmm.
keep that in your mind, the difference between the two, right? Internships are
Yes.
about you, about gaining the knowledge, about growing yourself, about investing into this company. Employment is about the business, right? Is about the company and the
Sure.
business. So once you are employed, it's a different mindset, right? That you're a part of the business, you're giving back, you're wanting to be engaged. Internship is the opposite, that the business is giving to you. You are partnering, trying to get that information and grow on your own. So
And
it's
it's up to
fine.
you to make the best of it. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. It's
Yeah.
fine to kind of be a little tad bit annoying if you need to be, because it is about you. If you're not getting the education or the information that you
Hmm.
want, totally be selfish and be like, hey, I need to get more information. I feel like I'm not
Yeah.
being like valued as a team member here. Like I need to get more hands on and push that and push that. I don't know if I've ever had an intern that I was like, I need you to calm down. I'm
Yeah.
like, cool, dude. They want to learn stuff. Let's do it.
Yeah. Exactly. I love that.
And continuing on. All right. So Um, intern for a person, not a company. Somebody was saying this earlier of finding someone that you want to intern for. Yes.
Yeah.
Don't intern for a company, intern for a specific person. So if you're looking for a company, they're like, man, I really want to work at this company. It'd be so cool to intern there. Look for the specific person who's responsible for the thing that makes you enamored with that company,
Hmm.
right? That if it's like, oh man, I want to work for Pentagram because like the way they do like type systems and build out like brand visual languages is so amazing. And it's like, cool, you don't want to intern for Pentagram. You want to intern for Michael Beirut. So you want to go and try to figure
Yeah.
out how to intern for Michael Beirut specifically. So when you are looking for whatever company it is, do some research. Look them up on LinkedIn. Try to find out who are the
Yes.
people that I'm responsible, that I would be responsible to, that I want to be responsible to, that I think I could learn from, and target them specifically.
Yeah.
This was something that I had a lot of students that would want an internship learning about, type. And instead of going to a type foundry or something, like, oh, I know Andrew likes type. Let's go ahead and intern under Andrew. He can teach us type. And I know that he's
Perfect.
passionate about it, so we can have that kind of mutual
Oh, dude,
relationship.
this is like so key because I think the best solution, best partnerships in intern and employee I've seen have happened this way. You're going after the individual, not the
Yes.
company. I think also too in this time, you might find a smaller place that maybe technically has a hiring freeze or can't afford to right now, maybe hire someone, but the internships might be in their budget. So
Yep.
going after the individual, they might have a better chance of bringing you on because you get a one-on-one with them. So
Yep.
always keep
Absolutely.
that in mind.
Yep,
Yeah.
and remember this. This is a big thing to remember. You've heard me talk about it a million times, is that our value is in our perspective as individuals, as creatives. Companies don't have perspectives. Companies are imaginary entities that they can't have a unique
A
perspective.
collective.
The
Yeah.
people do. So find the person that has a perspective that's unique, that you want to gain and draw from, right? You see something like, man, the way that they see the world is so interesting. I want some of that. Then go after that
Yeah.
person, right? You're not going after the company.
Love it.
And again, access to a key person allows for better communication. You can go to someone and be like, hey, I know we just had a big meeting where like everyone was kind of like, we get it. I don't get it. And I need some time with you to sit down and figure out what it is.
Yep.
If you're going after a person, you know that they're your person. They're here to talk to you. Otherwise, you're going to go into a company and send an email to HR and be like, I would need a consultation for a training, please. And then you just don't get anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, continue on. Don't be passive. Gaining experience in knowledge. You have to mine for gold. This is, again, putting in the effort. There's a great story of someone who used to work on a linotype machine. And what they would do is on lunch, they would take apart the linotype machine knowing that it had to be used after lunch because they wanted to know how it worked. And a linotype's like a big like letter setting machine. And he would take it apart during lunch, wanting to know how it worked, knowing that it had to work right after. And then
Yeah.
he would watch the technicians as they came to put it back together to learn how it worked and how it went together. So he would dismantle it, and of course he'd get in trouble, but then he'd stand there and watch them put it back together. And that's what you need. You need that drive to figure out, all right, I need to know how to do this. I'm going to figure it out. Let's push and see if we can make it work.
Love that. Yeah.
All right. Ask all the questions. Why should be your favorite word. You're not annoying. You're not the little kid that's like, why? If you actually want to know, literally ask why all the time. And not just like, why is this happening or how do I do this? Like literally ask the company, like, why do we do it this way? Like, why are we printing so many? Why is this happening? Because again, you have a unique perspective that they've probably just been doing things the same way forever. Challenge it. Ask why.
Yeah.
Don't stand by and learn. And yes, even if you understand something, ask and confirm. So if you're like, cool, I get it. I think I get it. Let's make sure that I get it, because in the future, you won't have them to confirm. It will kind of just be like, I think I get it, ?
Yeah. And you could be totally off. So making sure you're confirming with it is fantastic. I think also it shows to whoever might be your supervisor that this person is not only just doing a great job, but they're asking for clarity and they're asking for understanding. I think I've seen so many people get hired after internships because of this slide right here. And the fact that they were asking why, that makes them so much more valuable.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the big thing is have a plan for what's next. Internships are almost never the end all be all. You need to have a conversation in the last month of your time. So I do this with all of my retainer contracts. I do this with like Adobe shows, whatever it is. That last month when it is about to come to an end, have a conversation and say, hey, what's the future of this? Where are we going? Because it gives you enough time to kind of pressure them to be like, cool, if this isn't going to turn into a job, I'd love your help in the next month trying to find somewhere that would help me implement the skills that I've learned. So have that conversation a month early, not at the end. And then always ask, is there a possibility for employment? And if not, can you recommend any other opportunities? Maybe they have someone else that you would be better fitted for. And then if that's not a thing, can you ask for a letter of recommendation for the future? So 3 questions to ask as you go through. And again, these will be up on the server right after this. And here's the thing. Here's going to the money question. Here's the big one. You deserve to be paid, but here's the real truth. Sometimes you won't. Sometimes you won't. I did 2 unpaid internships.
Same here.
Because I was like, cool, I want to learn this stuff. And the value of the knowledge that I'm getting is equal to the amount of money that I would be getting as well.
Yes.
So to me, I mean, and it's very much figure it out on yourself, work for free if you want to. I'm a very big proponent of like, don't get mad, just figure it out. But if you think that instead of getting paid, the knowledge that you're getting is going to get you paid in the future, going to equip you for getting paid that money. Of course, everyone should get paid. You deserve to get paid, but sometimes they're not going to pay you. And so then you have to weigh either, okay, do I compromise and say, all right, I'm not going to get paid, or do I push to get paid at the risk of maybe not getting it? So it's up to you. I don't really have advice on this other than weigh the knowledge you're getting against the pay that you would be getting.
But don't forget, the experience is currency too. If you don't have that listing on your resume that is relevant to the experience and to the industry, this will be your solution. And if it means not getting paid, I'd be fine with it. I think too, right now, because of hiring freezes at a lot of big companies, this might be the perfect time to be looking into this and finding that one, being fine with not getting paid for it, but gaining that experience right now. You'll be helping a company out tremendously who can't hire right now. Then when they do hire, who's first on their list if they've done a good job? Andrew.
Exactly. So I did that with, I had an unpaid intern who went through, was looking to get employed. I didn't have an option to employ her. And then eventually, I think 1.5 years later, had a fill that I needed to make for an employee. And literally like, we took applications and stuff, but I was like, I want her. Like I want her now.
Oh my God, you get to prove yourself.
Yeah, and now she's been like one of my favorite people to work with. And it's all because that internship, you just get to mesh. And even though it might not work out right then, it might work out in the future.
Yeah, and don't forget, it's like a long interview that you have total control over.
Yes.
That's what I look at interning as, because you want to be that person that they're like, we can't lose that person now. When it's over, you want them to be like, I can't lose that person. They're primed for the next level. Yes. That's what you're doing.
Yep. And I had a unique understanding, and I even said this when we brought her on, when I hired her, was that my expertise was here. Right? Where are my hands? What's here? her expertise was like over here, and we had a tiny overlap in the middle. And I'd understood, okay, her expertise and perspective is the opposite of mine with enough overlap for us to work together. But the benefit that she brings the company makes everything broader. That between the two of us, we can cover everything. And I only knew that because she had invested and invited her unique perspective into our internship. So
Totally.
make sure you're
Yeah.
incorporating that in. And the last slide to wrap things up, great internships make the business and intern better. So it needs
Yes.
to make the business better and you better. Make sure that you are weighing both of those equally, because if it's off in any way, it's not going to work out, right? If it's all
Yeah.
about you, it's a problem. If it's all about them, it's also a problem. It needs to be a perfect balance.
Yeah. Question for you, because
Yes.
I always talk about my history with interns, both hiring them and being one. Did you find more success in smaller companies or bigger companies as an intern? Can you compare
Smaller
the two?
companies.
Yeah,
Smaller,
because
yeah.
you get the chance of wearing a lot of different hats, emergency situations where you are one of 5 people in the company total and you're an intern, you're going to be looked at as a team member much faster. So always remember that when you're comparing, if you are getting offers or if it's working, the smaller based ones, wow, the intimate level of what you learn is so much greater
Yep.
all the time. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're going to button up the presentation, give you guys all of those slides right down here at bit.ly/Adobe Office Hours. Give us about 15 minutes. We're going to update those fonts, make sure everything's looking good for you. And so we'll post in our Discord, which is right here. Nope, which is right here. So go join our Discord, and in the Office Hours, the fall semester channel, we will be posting when it is updated in just a little bit here. And other than that, any closing thoughts? We have about 30 seconds.
Wow. I would say 2 things, guys.
Yes.
W Max, sign up, go for the sessions and everything. Follow me at Longo Designs Instagram, because we're going to be announcing, and Andrew's going to be a part of it too, I hope. We're going to do some watching parties next week where we're going to watch together certain keynotes and things like that, which would be fun. And take a listen to the DGDC podcast. We have a fantastic episode with 4 young designers. They doubled their rates, and they tell you everything about going through the whole thing about raising their rates. It's phenomenal.
Fun.
So definitely take a listen.
And make sure you register for the Adobe Career Bootcamp coming up on Monday. That will be the next time you see Office Hours, and we will not get cut off. So I will see you all next week on Adobe Office Hours at the Career Bootcamp. Bye. Where's the button to go? Bye.
There we go.